CTR and Mario Kart 64 are two of the best racing games of all time. While CTR does have, while Mario Kart 64 is more iconic, CTR is more well-renowned for its slightly better controls and more advanced mechanics. But one thing we don't really hear compared about these two games is the track design. So my goal is to see which one really does have better track design, CTR or Mario Kart 64. And so, if you don't know, I made part 1 to this where I went over the Mushroom Cup. Now I'm going to go through the Flower Cup. So if you guys want to know how I'm doing this, then just check out my before video and I'll try to use your common sense to figure this out. Anyways, let's start. Toad's Turnpike versus Sewer Speedway. Okay, so Toad's Turnpike, let's start off. Toad's Turnpike is the first track of the Flower Cup in Mario Kart 64. It follows a 8-shaped layout with item boxes on the side pockets. It's the first traffic course in, I think, any racing game, to be in general, but also the first in Mario Kart. If you can't hear it, that's the background music that I'm playing right now. It has 3 lanes up until the final part where it converges into 2, and the trucks and cars are pretty large and in charge. And it takes place in a turnpike. It's just a road. It's at like night-ish. I don't know. I think sunset. I don't know. It's like pinkish purple. But for Sewer Speedway, we have first off we have just a couple of squiggles here, and there's a lot of turbo pads accustomed to CTR. This is a really hard shortcut where you could jump up here and go take up this top route, and then you could jump down, or you could just stay straight right there. That I just learned how to pull that off. It's decently fun. There's also these these sections that split off. I only compared these two because they don't show up at a similar. I mean, they're kind of similar point in the game, but I just picked them because they're the closest to each other in their respective games, and CTR has a lot of underground courses, and I didn't know what to do with them, so. Anyways, in my opinion, I'd probably say that Toad's Turnpike is better because it has more simplistic layout that is kind of better, and the cars and trucks are a lot more interesting than just having a couple of sewer barrels rolling around. And there isn't any parts where you could just get like stuck in the middle, because sometimes you ram into the middle of this and you have to back out and go back around. That's not necessarily the thing you want to strive for when you're talking about track design. Also, Toad's Turnpike's the best track in Mario Kart 64, so I feel like if I said this was worse than Sewer Speedway, then I feel like that would just invalidate all these videos, or at least my original CTR and Mario Kart 64 ranking videos. So yeah, Toad's Turnpike wins. It's 3-2. Mario Kart 64 is in the lead. Anyways, now it's Frappe Snowland versus Blizzard Bluff. Frappe Snowland is a really curvy track with this little Mario head here, and there's a lot of swerves in the pseudo snow tunnel until it leads into this bridge at the end. The only now this will be a completely fun track, except for there is 2 issues here. First off, the snowmen are annoying as hell, bro. The render distance for Mario Kart 64 isn't that big, so sometimes you just run into snowmen that you can't see. And also, there is abundance of them right here. If you learn the patterns, you should be fine. But also, there's another issue. If you try to cut corners through the snow, Laxu will just pick you up and put you back, which is not very fun. I'll tell you that. But overall, it's all right. It's still one of the worst track. It's still the second worst. It's still one of the worst tracks in Mario Kart 64. But what about Blizzard Bluff? So Blizzard Bluff is kind of, you just do 2 bulges on each side and then you go straight and do another bulge on each side. It's relatively simple, but that's kind of nice. There's a jump right here and there's a couple of boulders. Those that are just kind of the barrels from Sewer Speedway that copy and pasted. And I'm gonna be honest, I find Blizzard Bluff better because its simplicity and lack of annoying as hell snowmen makes Blizzard Bluff better. So it's 3-3, it's tied. Choco Mountain, Dragon, oh yeah, I forgot. I put these together because they're snow tracks, in case you're blind. Anyways, now we have Choco Mountain versus Dragon Mines. These are both kind of rocky tracks. I don't know. I didn't know where to put Dragon Mine, so I just put it against Choco Mountain because there's any chocolate themed tracks, and I mean I guess the dirt roads are similar. But anyways, let's start with Mario Kart 64, I guess. So first off, you start here. There's a cliff right here you have to go through. There's a turn that goes through a tunnel, and then you go out. Then you just curve through these little curvy sections, and then you go through here. And there's a big lake with boulders falling down trying to kill you. And then you go back, and then if you take this turn correctly, you can fall off, which I find hilarious. I never fall off, but at least in 150 and I'm at 150. I don't really play 50cc that often. Then you take this turn, there's a couple of bumps, and then you go back. It's a solid track. And then there's Dragon Mines. This is the worst track in CTR. I'll just keep it short. First of all, it doesn't even have that advantage that CTR has because it has literally 1 turbo pad. 1 turbo pad, so yeah. Also, yeah, the curves are relatively boring until it comes to this section where either A, you could take this route and go, and you take the minecart trail and risk getting ran over because there isn't any brake system in the minecarts and nobody's on them. Or you could take this annoying as hell corkscrew, which is more annoying, which is almost impossible to drift through, because either A, you're going to slam into the wall, or B, you're going to fall into the lava, and then Aku Aku or Uka Uka is going to have to pick you up, and then you're just going to be pissed. You're going to lose all your reserves, and it's not going to be fun. Then you go back through the bridge, and then you take the turbo pad, and then you go through this section, and it's back. They both have kind of wavy turns, but Dragon Mines is literally the worst track in CTR, so I feel like I probably will have to give this to Choco Mountain. And finally, for our last one, track, we have, and finally, for our last comparison of today, we have the raceway. We have the circuit tracks, the boring as hell, the ones that are just there to kind of teach you the game. We have Mario Raceway versus Slide Coliseum. So let's start with Mario Raceway. First off, it's a relatively simple layout. There's hella straights here. You take a turn right here, there's a little curve, and then there's a turn around this little mushroom. That's nice. There's a little chicane, then you kind of turn around, take a curve back, and then you go in this pipe, and then you go back. There's a stands right here, but that doesn't really do anything. Really boring. It's the most boring track. It's probably one of the most boring tracks in the game, but it's still good. You know, there's a lot of aggressively bad tracks in Mario Kart 64. But then we have Slide Coliseum. This is almost constant turns. If this was an F1 track, it would suck, but it's a CTR track, not an F1 track. It doesn't have any turbo pads, which doesn't give any advantages, but significantly more turns. there's a lot more shortcut opportunities. Like right here, you could jump off this off-road and then just go over here. The turns allow for constant drifting, which is exhilarating and exciting. And also, it ends off the Crash Cup in the original in the arcade mode of CTR, which is kind of funny because it's like the most boring way. Like you could have ended off with Turbo Track, but now you did Slide Coliseum, which is kind of funny because the PS1 couldn't handle the having Oxide Station multiplayer. That makes sense. And I generally prefer Slide Coliseum over Mario Raceway because it is significantly less boring. There's constant turns and curves, and there's a jump right there. They're both pretty primal for shortcuts. Mario Raceway is more primal because it actually has a good way to go through the grass without having to use Aku Aku or Uka Uka, because yeah, you can't use the pumps to go through the off-road, which I don't really find that fun. But anyways, Mario Raceway is cool. It's a nice track to introduce people, but I feel like Slide Coliseum is way better, and because it has constant turns and it's just more interesting having like these constant turns for mini turbos than just having these boring normal turns, like a basic bitch course compared to one with constant turns. I feel like the winner is pretty clear just because of the fact that Mario Raceway is really boring and Slide Coliseum is interesting. But anyways, that's the end. But anyways, that's the end of the video, guys. Like, subscribe. I swear to please subscribe. My goal is to get to 10 subscribers by the end of the year, and I made one Hot Wheels video, which got me to 10 subscribers. It's not even remotely close to the end of 2025. So how about this? Let's try to get to 50 subs by the end of the year. Okay? We're only like 1/4 the way through, so I'd like if you guys could like, subscribe, and yeah. Anyways, the video ends off with 4-4. It's tied again. I know, kind of clickbaity, but I promise it will end. There will be a win in the end. I promise. Anyways, see you guys, and I know I end this video. Mickey Speedway USA is good. Try to give me suggestions for what I should make for my next rankings. Okay, bye.